Today I'm joined by retired MLB outfielder Adam Greenberg. Adam was selected in the ninth round of the 2002 draft by the Chicago Cubs. He got the call-up on July 7, 2005, and made his debut 2 days later on July 9th, almost 20 years ago today. He had what may be one of the most memorable first plate appearances of all time.
Yeah, Adam Greenberg, the youngster stepping in, called up the same time Matt Merton was, so he's making his major league debut here.
Oh, my goodness.
Boy, there was absolutely nowhere for him to go on that fastball. Here he is making his major league debut. He's trying to stay in there against a left-hander, and this fastball just takes off.
As Adam says, imagine, if you will, the most joyful, absolute best thing that's ever happened to you. Picture it in your mind. Now think of the worst thing that's ever happened. The absolute lowest moment you've ever felt. The despair, the anguish. Now imagine those two things happening within seconds of each other. And that's what happened to Adam Greenberg on July 9, 2005. Adam was hit in the head by Valerio de los Santos on the very first pitch he saw, leading to a concussion and vertigo. Vertigo which went undiagnosed and misunderstood for well over a year. One pitch, and his life changed forever. Adam worked for 7 years grinding his way through minor league baseball with the Cubs, Dodgers, Royals, Angels, and Reds, and eventually the Orioles, trying to climb his way back to the top. For years, Adam was constantly being compared to Moonlight Graham, who was a real-life baseball player made famous in Field of Dreams, but actually, he had more in common with Fred Van Dusen. Moonlight Graham played in a game as a defensive replacement, but never got a plate appearance. Fred Van Dusen, however, was just like Adam. He had a single plate appearance and was hit by a pitch. Statistically, not an official at-bat. Adam caught a break when Brad Ausmus tapped him to join Team Israel in the 2012 World Baseball Classic. It was that experience and exposure as part of the WBC that eventually led to Adam finally getting another chance, this time with the Florida Marlins. 2 career plate appearances, 1 official at-bat, separated by 7 years. 7 years of hard work and determination. Adam, thank you for visiting. Thank you for joining me. I read your book, Get Up, and I'm so glad that you agreed to chat. Now, this book was published in 2018, I believe, or 2017, so it's a little outdated. Can you tell me a little bit about what you're doing today?
What am I doing today? I do some real estate development, and I also have an electric fleet vehicle solutions company for last mile delivery. It's all about the people in anything that I do.
And you do some motivational speaking with corporations, and
Yeah, I've been doing motivational speaking since the early days with the Cubs, and then of course after the incident, it kind of went to another level and got to do it for, like you mentioned, a lot of major corporations, but anything from elementary schools to juvenile detention centers, all the way up to Fortune 500 companies. So it's been amazing. And again, it's that ability to connect with people of all walks of life, and just sharing the story of perseverance, overcoming challenges and obstacles, and never giving up or never quitting, and always having goals to kind of get through whatever challenges that you're facing.
the sports world is completely different today than it was 20 years ago with respect to head injuries and concussions. It's hard to believe, but just 20 years ago, getting hit in the head was treated pretty much like getting hit in the knee. You just shook it off and went on to play. I asked Adam about his concussion, his vertigo, and the difference between today and 2005. You had the additional issue of not only a concussion, but you had benign paroxysmal positional vertigo. You were throwing up for hours. I'm sure it came with migraines. And this was something that it took roughly a year, I think, before it was even diagnosed for you. Is it something that you still battle with today? And what do you do to handle it? I know my mother-in-law takes meclizine, and there's the Epley maneuver. There's all kinds of. It's so crazy, man. Just the idea of a little crystal in your ear causing something like this. But yeah, what's it like for you today?
So I'm very, very blessed. After it was 2.5 years post the incident, I have not had a single episode since. And
Okay.
I did the Epley maneuver ad nauseum, literally nauseum, because that's what it causes.
Just to interject here, if you haven't had vertigo, you may not know what we're talking about. It sounds kind of like science fiction, but there are crystals in your ear. A head impact can dislodge these crystals, and the effect is extreme dizziness, loss of balance, and sometimes rapid involuntary eye movement, all of which Adam suffered. The Epley maneuver involves laying down and moving your head through very specific angles to reposition these loose crystals back into the utricle.
But I was able to realign all the crystals, move them throughout the canals, and get them to go back and settle where they needed to. I can't really go on, or don't like any sort of spinning rides or anything like that. So I do whatever I can to avoid that. But in terms of a true episode, I haven't had one in a number of years. But it was really 17 doctors later to get the diagnosis. So to your point, what has kind of evolved since I was injured? I was asked through 4 or 5 days after my incident by the general manager, "Hey, are you good? Or if you're not, we got to send you down." Versus what today would be is an entire protocol, a significant time of rehab and disabled list and consistent checks. I'll never forget, they brought me in. I was in Arizona for my rehab stint, and they like, "All right, touch your toes." Not even joking. Touch your toes. Do some jogs. Now do a little sprint. Yeah, you're good. And that's not a knock on the Cubs or the training staff. It's just, it was so far removed from where we are today, which is, again, I could be spiteful of that. I could be frustrated by it, or it's people are in a safer environment because of it. And that's just, again, unfortunate for me, but good for others.
It's pretty well established that hitting a baseball is the hardest thing to do in sports. Now, imagine trying to do that when your eyes are moving involuntarily and you are off balance. And that's pretty much what Adam was facing in 2006 and 2007 while trying to claw his way back to the Cubs. And again, concussion issues were not well understood. You can't see a concussion injury like you can a broken bone. As part of Adam's 7-year comeback, he would come face to face with the man who threw that fateful pitch. And let's have a little bit of sympathy for Valerio de los Santos. When he hit Adam, he thought he'd killed him. It surely wasn't intentional. The pitch just got away from him. Years after the incident, you were able to face De Los Santos again in 2011. You were playing for the Bridgeport Bluefish, and he was with the Long Island Ducks. How important was it at bat for you? And did it bring you any closure? Or did you not need closure? Or I know both of you talked pregame. Tell me a little bit about that at bat, if you don't mind.
Yeah, I didn't feel like I needed closure, but it was pretty awesome. You can call it redemption. You can call it. I kind of called it my first major league at bat for real. I got to face the guy that hit me in one pitch in the major leagues on a Sunday night nationally televised ESPN baseball game, and I got to face him in Bridgeport, Connecticut. Still professional baseball. It didn't matter if there was 10 people in the stands or 50,000. It was my major league at bat. I just had shoulder surgery during the off season. Came back from that. And I came back in 5 months from a 90% rotator tear and a labral tear and the whole surgery, the whole nine. and I came back to make sure because I knew I'd face him that night. So I made it a bigger deal in my own head, and I ended up getting a base hit off of him. I think it was the eighth inning or whatever, and it was amazing. I mean, the first pitch he threw me, like before the pitch, I looked at him, and it was one of those like make eye contact. All right, okay, we're doing this, and he threw a cutter at my hip, and it cut over the plate, and I was like, okay, you're going to come in there.
Yeah,
it's on. And again, whether it was more the fact it's now competitive, we're playing, we're in the game. So I think I fouled a couple balls off and got a base hit. But it just felt good. It's not, what would have happened if, or because you can't control the past. It's already over. So that moment was pretty magical for me.
I feel like that 2011 at bat against De Los Santos was a turning point in the movie that needs to be made of Adam's life. That base hit, that redemption was the start of a magical 2012. It started with the opportunity to join Team Israel in the WBC and eventually led to Miami for his return to the major leagues. I wanted to ask just real briefly about Team Israel. How important was that to you to play for basically, your heritage? And I also want to know what is Jock Peterson like? He's one of my all-time favorites.
Nice. No, it was in baseball, one of, if not the coolest experiences I've ever had. To be able to represent, as you mentioned, heritage, country, it was, and play with guys that lived over there, and also all the guys that were in the minor leagues or former major leaguers that were a part of that team. I mean, you said Brad Ausmus was the manager, Sean Green was there, Gabe Kapler. I mean, it was the coolest experience where a group of guys got together and became family so fast. Mm-hmm. I mean, you play on team after team after team. I couldn't name a fraction of the teams that I played on, let alone who my teammates were, which is wild. I mean, I never thought that would ever be the case, but that team was special. We came together. Unfortunately, we didn't win the final game to get us to go on. And it was like, oh my God, I thought my career was over at that moment because I didn't think there was anything after that. And then of course what transpired, but it was pretty amazing. And as far as Jock Peterson, he's one of a kind. He was unique then. I'm sure he's unique now, but he was a great teammate, great person. And I was just so happy to see him progress throughout his career.
When Adam finally got his at-bat with the Marlins, fate threw him one final curve, if you will. He had the misfortune of facing a knuckleballer, a pitch that, when thrown well, can not only be impossible to hit, sometimes catchers can't even catch it. When you finally did get this opportunity with the Marlins in 2012, Ozzie Guillen decided to use you against R.A. Dickey, of all people. And I've covered R.A. Dickey in a previous video, and he had the year of his career that year. I mean, he was untouchable. So it's unfortunate that you had to face the Cy Young winner that year. But I do give R.A. a lot of credit. You mentioned in your book, somebody asked him, how are they going to pitch? How are you going to pitch Adam Greenberg? And he said, I'm going to pitch him like the professional that he is. And I think you can respect that. What memories do you take from that at bat? Was it as obviously, Adam, I can't relate to that first at bat with the Cubs or this at bat with the Marlins. Were you just full of nerves, or was it different this time, the second time around?
No, it was totally different. And I say, facing R.A. Dickey, it made the nerves even less, because it's like, well, what are the expectations here? I mean, my expectations are getting a hit. But it was just like another challenge, and you can't script it. Like you said, if Hollywood were to write a story, they couldn't come up with this type of like, okay, wait, you're going to get hit your first pitch in the head with a 90 mile an hour fastball, and you're going to go through what you did. And then 7 years later, you're going to get an opportunity not just to face a Cy Young Award winner. That would have been great. You face if I think DeGrom pitched, and or if you had Syndergaard, like guys who throw in 100 miles an hour, don't care.
Mm-hmm.
Bring that on. Let's go. But we're going to face the Cy Young Award winning knuckleballer,
Mm-hmm.
who, to your point, the year of his lifetime, throwing 80 plus mile an hour knuckleballs wherever he wanted to throw it, however he wanted. It was like you can't script it, but it was just, okay, that's what we're doing. Like, that's what I'm ready to go do. I wasn't nervous. It was genuine excitement of I'm in the big leagues. And my goal was not just to have the at bat, it was to get on, it was to steal, it was to score a run, it was to help the team. And then my mind was do well enough in one at bat or whatever chance I get to continue the opportunity to play with that team. Knowing Ozzie the way that I know him now, I would have been like, dude, I'm in the outfield. Like, come on. I got the at bat. That's great. Send me out to the outfield. Let me play. Let me show you what I got. Ozzie and I didn't necessarily have the relationship at the time, but again, that's my story. That's what happened. And it was incredible. And knowing that R.A. Dickey said what he said, and it was, I'm going to pitch you like the big leaguer that you are. That's the only way I'd want. I wouldn't want 3 80-mile-an-hour fastballs.
No.
It was a real professional at bat. First pitch, could it have been called a ball? Yeah, it could have. It was a little up. We had those new cameras. I mean, maybe there would, but
I'll have to go back and look at the StatCast and see where those pitches were.
Yeah, that'd be interesting. But it was more the point of the only pressure that I felt was the president of the team. He before the at bat was the game before, I was up in the suite with him, and he said, "Don't go down looking." So the only thing that I had was, okay, I'm up there aggressive. I was swinging at the first pitch if it was a good pitch. And then when you actually see a pitch that starts up and do what it's doing and just dump down into the zone, it's like, okay, like I get it. And I was ready to hit and I didn't pull the trigger. So it really became the next 2 pitches. Just got to be aggressive. Just take the bat off my shoulder and just swing anywhere near the zone, which is a very unfair at bat against somebody who is of that caliber, because they couldn't take the next pitch and be 0-2 and not swing. And then when it got to be 0-2, it's like he throws that ball, and I use in the universe, I have to swing. So, but again, it was 3 pitches, and the ovation that I got walking into the batter's box, insane, something that I've never experienced ever. And I don't know how I can match that feeling ever. And then the ovation that I got after a strikeout, which was also the strangest feeling I've ever had, because I was upset at the actual strikeout. But I couldn't be upset and show that kind of emotion when the home crowd is giving me a standing ovation and people are giving me high fives and hugs. I'm like, I guess I got to appreciate this moment. So
in that game, Fred Van Dusen threw out the first pitch, and he has since passed. Did you get a chance to interact with him much?
Only briefly before the game.
Okay.
But it was amazing that he came, that he was there.
Credit the Marlins for finding him and bringing him in.
Yeah.
Really
and recently I've actually watched Field of Dreams with my boys.
Okay.
And so obviously with Moonlight Graham, and there's some weird correlations, AG, he went to UNC. Somebody sent me this whole list of comparables between he and I. But it was cool having kind of another real life Moonlight Graham there at that game. So yeah, it was pretty special. The whole night, the whole everything, everyone did something really special.
Adam got his AB, but that isn't the end of the story. While doing my research for this, it dawned on me that there are 2 very distinct different ways to measure the achievements of Adam Greenberg. The first we can all easily see by looking him up on Baseball Reference. It'll tell you all that you want to know about how many bases he stole as a professional, 261, or how many home runs he had, 43. You can see that he was hit 72 other times in his pro career. But the other way to measure him has nothing to do with statistics, and it's a far more important metric. By that I mean, how many lives has he impacted, and what has he achieved as a human being? One story in particular involved a young man who was also hit in the head, leading him to depression and thoughts of suicide. There are a lot of people that are struggling with what seems like overwhelming obstacles in front of them, and that's where I think a book like this or your story can really resonate. And Jared Schwartz, you mentioned in your book, is just one example of that. But when the book was published 8 years ago, he was 12. Is this somebody that you've spoken to in the last couple of years? And do you know what he's doing today? And if you don't mind just sharing his story.
Yeah, well, he was, oh man, at the time, he was younger than 12, I believe. He was in Little League, and he got hit in the head with a pitch, and it really affected him. I mean, to the point, concussion, had to stay in dark rooms, really was in a dark place. And dark, obviously, in the book I wrote, I didn't know how bad, because I never knew the kid. I just got, I think the first one was a letter asking for an autograph, and then the second one was, I think I gave his father my phone number. He called me, and I told him, hey, I'll speak to the kid. Like, an autograph doesn't do enough. So let me connect with him and share my experiences and give him hope at the end of the day. That's what it was all about. So we connected. He ended up coming to a game. I played catch with him on the field, and we just stayed in touch. After the fact, I mean, I didn't know any of this until later, because I was doing my normal course of business. It was just, somebody needs help, I'm going to do everything I can. When I found out he was suicidal, and really was in that dark of a place, and then finding out, okay, he not only overcame that, got help, and then finished out high school, I think he had a scholarship for drumming at college, graduated college. I mean, all those things were like, man, this is what it's all about. It's just, when you go through something that's difficult or challenging and you overcome it, if you keep it to yourself, yeah, good, you did it for you. But when you can provide help for other people, there's more reward in that than what you were ever able to overcome in your successes as an individual. At least that's how I feel.
I'm sure it goes beyond just Jared. You probably don't even know the number of people that your story has helped, but kudos to you, man. That's great.
Thank you.
Adam has 3 young kids, and I'm sensitive to showing that video of him getting hit at the beginning. But Adam assured me that his kids have seen it many times. I asked him what those conversations are like with his kids. You have 3 kids now. What do you tell your kids, or what do they know about what happened to Dad?
They've seen it. It's not a bad memory. I mean, it's hard to say it that way, where dream come true, 24 years old, opportunity of a lifetime, overcome every obstacle and odds against me you could possibly have, and make it to the major leagues. But I made it, and I made it twice. So when I talk to my kids, now that my 9-year-old, he's in the thick of starting to really play and playing competitive, although he's only 9. So just for all you parents out there, it's not that serious. But and then my 7-year-old son Ryder, and my daughter who's 5, Juliet, there's been times where we're laying in bed at night and somebody will send me something, a new reel, or somebody created something. Or the other day, MLB.com put together a really nice clip. It was like 4 minutes. So we'll watch it, and really, they know what happened. They're like, oh yeah, my dad got hit in the head. So they talk about it. they're not at a true level to appreciate, number one, what it took to get there and what happens after. But I mean, they've been around long enough, and they've seen that video, and they got their iPads, so they'll just sometimes search it, and they'll watch it. But I just wish there was more videos and highlights of me diving catches and running the bases and stealing. Right. And but unfortunately, that's not the case. I got to go back through my mom's old VHS tapes to find those. But anyway, my kids, the only thing that I've taught them, most important thing, not the only thing, the most important thing I've ever taught them, and I've spoke about it since, Leo was able to comprehend anything. It's let your playing do the talking. That's like everything that is, you don't have to tell somebody how good you are. You just have to go out and do. And that's in everything in life. Whether it's in business, whether it's with your friends, just show by how you do what you do on the field, all the prep and training and everything. You don't have to tell anyone how much you're doing. It'll show. And when you do well, like all the antics nowadays, I get it. People want to see the show. But you just do, like, and let everything else kind of play for itself. But it's a different time. It's a different world, but attitude it's never changed. Your attitude is your own decision. So when something happens, good or bad, that's the other thing that we talk about a lot. And that's kind of where I feel blessed is I could have had a sour attitude and poor me and this sucks and whatever, and continue to push forward in a positive way.
In closing, I asked Adam about life in the minor leagues and the ridiculous pay discrepancy at that level.
$850 a month for my first year, and it's only a 5-month pay scale. So you figure that it's less than $5,000 a year. And then you go year 2 and you're like $950 and then $1,000. Like it's the, at least at the time it was, you do it for the love. It's a tight road, $20 a day on the road for meal money. And you know what that gets you.
When you were playing in the minor leagues, did you ever have a side job? What were you doing during?
Yeah, I was doing off season. I often did some training with kids or camps and stuff that I'm actually still running. My first camp was my second. I think it was my second year in pro ball, or maybe my first, whatever. And I just finished it last week. So there was a nice gap, of course, but I've been running it for over 20, 25 years. Where's the camp? It's in Connecticut, just a small group of kids. It's this year we had the most we've had is like 30 kids.
Awesome.
I was doing some real estate flips as kind of a side hustle. And then ended up starting a nutrition company out of the locker room in 2010.
This was the Wrong Living?
Yeah, that was my nutrition company that I've since sold. But you got to do something. You can't just be a baseball player living in the minor leagues and living off that signing bonus. Only goes so far. But yeah, I've always been a serial entrepreneur. Since I was young.
Well, I saw that Adam's Personal Services.
Yes, sir.
You mentioned in your book where you would wash cars, clean garages. So Adam, I'm an avid baseball card collector, and a lot of people who watch my YouTube stuff are baseball card collectors. Did you ever collect cards? Or do you? You did?
Yeah, I did, and my kids now got into it. So I'm staring at thousands of cards right in front of me that my kids are now obsessed with. So awesome. I never did football or basketball. It was only baseball. I didn't even know they made football or basketball cards. That's how I was baseball driven. But now my kids are getting into baseball, basketball, and football cards. And a gentleman from my town, his kids don't want anything to do with his sports collection, like his card collection. So we went over, that's why I'm saying thousands, because there's old. I'm looking at like 1990 or 1985 Topps entire sets and Donruss, like all the cars that I know. So yeah, it's cool watching my kids flip through some of my old cards. I don't have a ton of them here. I think same thing. My mom probably has a bunch of them down where she is. But yeah, I loved it. It was great. I'm watching them open them and bend the sides. I'm like, guys, what are you doing? But it's fun for them. They're enjoying it, and we get to kind of start doing it together. So it's cool.
Did you keep any of the memorabilia from your playing days? Do you have your jerseys or anything hanging up in a man cave?
Yeah, well, I have a gentleman that was very, very instrumental in my comeback. His name is Dr. Barry Seiler. He unfortunately has passed away, and I was devastated to hear that. Like, it was bad, because he was the one that sought me out because I had vision issues in addition to the vertigo, short-term memory problems, and my visual alignment I didn't know was off. So he does visual training therapy, and was working with some minor league teams and major league teams, and had all this data. And again, back then it was like whatever, like vision training, sure. But when I was with the Royals, he called me in and I did my training with him and realized just how bad my alignment was off. I mean, it was like the fact that I hit 209 for a season was like, oh my God, good for me. When the ball was like 13 steps away from the target of contact point. And so the point, to answer your question, was more, Dr. Seiler got me a gift, and he got my jersey, my cleats, and a ball and everything framed up. So that's my one main thing that I treasure. I'll treasure forever. So,
well, I don't know if you can see behind me, but next to Al Kaline up here is my.
Oh, I see it.
My Adam Greenberg card.
I see it. It's not signed.
This one's not signed. I don't know. I don't know if they issued any that were signed.
No, I'll sign it. That's what I'm saying. I sign it. Personalize it.
Awesome. Well, thank you. I love it. It's it'll stay up here on my shelf next to Kaline. But yeah, how cool is that to have your own baseball card, man? I can't even imagine. Topps did a good job there.
Yeah,
they did kind of poke at you a little bit though. On the back it says Greenberg is 4,256 hits away from the all-time record. What's up with that?
I can handle it. They called me that night and they're like, we just want to let you know we're going to add you to the 2012 Topps set. Yeah. Again, it wasn't a show for me. It wasn't like, well, what can I get? I mean, I donated everything that I got for those 2 days back to I think it was the Marlins charity, and all the extra things that happened. They're amazing. I mean, it's things that I get to cherish, and just be able to be a part of history in a positive way. So the baseball card, yeah, I had some baseball cards in the minor leagues, and those were minor league cards. And then that's the pinnacle of making it. So, yeah,
that's awesome. Adam, thank you for your time. I don't want to take up too much more of your time. I do want you to know that I know that what you endured was brutally difficult for you and your family. But I do believe that you've impacted many people already, and I'm hoping that with this video, with YouTube, this thing will be out there forever. So someday somebody will see this video and we'll take some solace in it. So thank you for your time.
Thank you, Gordon. I appreciate it. Thanks for what you do. Thank you.